Am I the asshole for telling my habitually late mom that if she can't be on time, don't come to my wedding? My mom is habitually late. If she has somewhere to be, she'll be getting ready 5 minutes before and then rush there in a frenzy, being ultimately late to whatever she had planned. She owns her own business and seems to only be on time for clients. She's been late to dinners, gatherings, parties, etc., all because she'll sit around and wait until the last minute. If you want her on time, you better tell her the wrong one. She thinks it's funny, I don't. I'm getting married in 2021, restrictions willing, and she made a comment about me telling her the wrong time so she'd show up on time. I said, or you'll be on time because it's an important day and you're an adult. She gave me a look and I said, if you're not going to be on time, don't show up. She got very offended by this, but to me, it's her daughter's wedding. If you can't prioritize it and get up a little earlier to be on time, then don't come. She now won't speak to me and my dad says I should apologize. I don't think so. Am I the asshole? I hate people who have the mindset of like, I'm always late, sorry lol, can't help it. Like, yes you can. Being late once or twice is an accident, being habitually late is rude. Not the asshole at all. Edit. Man, I didn't think this would pop off like this. Thanks y'all. Edit 2. I would also like to clarify I absolutely never meant to disparage anyone who suffers from mental health issues that cause lateness, time blindness. I made this generalization because it seems from the post that the mom doesn't suffer from this sort of thing, due to her being able to be on time for things like client dinners. I do appreciate the feedback from others and will try and make less statements that ignore those who don't fit into an either-or situation. Not the asshole if she can't be on time to that, what can she be on time for? Not the asshole. I'm betting she thinks it's funny because everyone just lets it slide and tries to laugh it off. Clearly, if she's on time for her clients, she's shown that she's capable of being on time in general. It's not that hard, and you are asking very little. Can you talk to your dad about making sure that she shows up on time? Not the asshole. And I think you should do it frankly. She is doing this for control, it should not be respected. Not the asshole, and you're right. Being late because you have poor time management skills isn't an excuse, and if she can't be bothered to show up on time, that's her fault. She's on time for the things that matter to her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Habitual lateness is a sign of deep disrespect. Outside of visiting violence upon another person, it's pretty much the biggest sign of disrespect one person can do to another. It's an active message that the late individual does not consider established plans or the time of another person to be valuable. I absolutely cannot stand people who are habitually late, for no other reason than their own poor planning. I'm not sure on this one. Only because it sounds like you escalated a well-intentioned light-hearted joke. The way you describe her, it seems your mom is very immature and irresponsible. But the exchange sounds as if she recognized her fault and made a joke, and then you took a jab at her for it. It's hard to know who the asshole is without actually being there and knowing the exact dialogue. Not the asshole. I say this as a terrible time manager. There is a limit to how much chronic lateness other people will put up with, and when someone is trying to pass off their bad habit as cute, and others are not having it, it's time to get the message. Emo, esh. She sucks for not committing to being on time, and therefore not giving you peace of mind. And you suck for telling her that she's not welcome if she's late. Not welcome at her own daughter's wedding. That's a pretty devastating result for compulsive behavior, regardless of how immature it may be. I feel it's reasonable to apologize and say that the issue is causing you a lot of anxiety, and that you'd like a commitment from her that she'll be on time. And for good measure pull someone else aside, Dad, and request that he gets here there on time. Perpetual lateness is extremely disrespectful. She's showing she doesn't value your time, and to be offended that you dare suggest she can't pull the same crap on your wedding day? Not the asshole 100%, and don't you dare apologize to her. P.S. Your dad sucks too. RN. Edit. Typo. You are the asshole. Being late to everything is annoying, but if you're willing to uninvite your mother from your wedding just for that, then enjoy regretting that for the rest of your life. My mom was always at least 20 minutes late to everything and it drove me crazy, but now she's dead and I'd kill to have her around so she could be late to my wedding. Your mom won't be around forever, and pushing her out of your wedding over an issue that you devoted a mere 2 paragraphs to is an overreaction. You are the asshole. Nobody is perfect and everybody has their own issues. Although the post doesn't specify how often she is late and whether or not it changes depending on how important the event is, most people who are habitually late still make more of an effort on the days that are much more important. You've undermined your mother's love for you by attacking her poor personality traits. You have every right to say something, but it certainly didn't need to be as strong as how you said it. I am probably gonna get a lot of downvotes for this, but habitually late people are annoying as fuck, and it is disrespectful as fuck too. But uninviting your mum from your wedding over it? I don't get it. People on this sub seem to always resort to the most extreme solutions to things. Assuming your relationship with your mum is overall okay, and her being late is the only reason you're thinking of excluding her from your wedding, isn't that a little extreme? Some years down the line, you might regret not having your mum with you on a pretty big day of your life, just because she had an annoying habit of being late. I am shocked at these replies. My mom was always late. She was late to work, late to church, late to everything. The only reason my wedding started on time was because we took pictures beforehand, so she had to be there. When she passed, we started her funeral 5 minutes after the hour. We couldn't help it. I think you could have phrased it better, but ultimately not the asshole. Not the asshole. She doesn't respect you. I bet this isn't the only instance of blatantly disrespecting your boundaries. Your dad sounds like a classic enabler. Honestly, I think you both are in the wrong, but you more so. I take it that she made the "tell me the wrong time" comment as a joke, and in my opinion you sorta overreacted. I think you need to tell her that this is really important to you and you would appreciate it if she was on time, if not early. If you are disrespectful and hurtful, though, you will only damage your relationship with her and make her feel bad. I do think that she should work on being early to things though. I get how frustrating it is when people are always late, but as your mom, won't she be with you to be getting ready? So inherently she'd be on time with everyone. Not the asshole. How can you be that unorganized, not to mention disrespectful, to potentially not even show up on time to your own kid's wedding? NTA, my mom is the same way, down to me having to tell her games or concerts I was in and HS started like 2 hours beforehand. Not living through that anymore now that we're both grown. I'm also engaged RN and 100% will be telling Get the same thing. Also, congrats on your engagement and wedding. Not the asshole dated a guy like this and it was the ultimate ego rush for him to make everyone wait for him to make his pay attention to Emmy entrance. Not the asshole. Although, you might want to have her head to a psychiatrist. I have ADHD and am constantly late for things. It is a huge struggle for me to be on time. It's called executive dysfunction. I will sit there and look at the clock, completely aware that I need to be getting ready, but can't seem to make my body follow through until 15 minutes before the event starts. Not the asshole. If someone was late all the time unintentionally, they'd be on time once in a while, just by accident. If she's always late, she's choosing to be late, and showing total disregard for everyone else in the process. You let her know that you aren't going to babysit or coddle her to be on time for her own kid's wedding, which is probably what so many others in her life have done. Good for you for standing up for yourself. Not the asshole. She thinks her time is more important than others. If she turns up late, she'll be the one either sitting at the back of the church at her daughter's wedding, awful, or she'll be walking up the aisle to the front row in front of everyone. How embarrassing. Nah. And I'm not saying being late is inexcusable or quirky. You have every right to be annoyed with her over that, but the thing is that she didn't set out with the intent of making you excuse her unavoidable lateness. She was just joking around and was probably expecting your answer to be equally lighthearted manner. Yeah, it struck a nerve and it's well within your right to be upset about the comment, but it's nothing a good conversation won't solve. She wasn't trying to be inconsiderate as far as I can tell. You are the asshole. Mild. Sounds like you were coming in a little hot. While she was joking about being late, what if the joke was the audacity she'd have to be late to that event? She knows this is an important day, you're her daughter. And she hasn't actually been late to it yet. No reason to get mad about something that hasn't happened. I think it would be in your best interest to let this one go, and apologize if necessary. You have now communicated your expectations for her to be on time. It's out of your control now. Congrats on the marriage and best wishes for your future. I will be the odd woman out. 1. Your mom needs to work on time management too. She does not need you to parent her. 3. Your wedding is in 2021, you have plenty of time to address the issue in a more respectful way. 4. Before you say, "Well, it is disrespectful of her to be late for my wedding," let me remind you, she has not done anything wrong yet. 5. Even if you still think she is disrespectful, it is not a license to return the disrespect. 6. If the comment was made in front of others, even worse. I am sure you also have a few quirks or flaws. Would you like them pointed out publicly? Maybe apologize for the delivery, but not the message. I am sorry for the way I handled my concern that you may be late for my wedding. Truth is, it has been bothering me, but I should have handled it differently. Not the asshole. That kind of perpetual lateness is extremely rude. She probably thinks you'll hold the ceremony for her. Since your father indulges her, best to make plans that don't include them in crucial roles. If they're late, they sit in the back. Not the asshole. People who are always late have no respect for others. Not the asshole, because this is an important day and there's really no excuse for being late. But as someone with many ADHD family members, this is something I deal with all the time. My mom and brother cannot be on time to save their lives. I think for them, it's not time until it's time, and then they go into panic mode. If it's really important to me that they're on time, I do tell them an earlier time. It's kind of annoying that I have to do it, but neither of them will admit they have a problem, and it's more important to me that they show up instead of turning it into a thing. Even if your mom doesn't have ADHD or some other issue with executive function, it's just something to think about. Do you want to make sure your mom is there, or do you want this to be what makes a rift in your relationship? Not the asshole. Being late for everything is a choice. It's rude and it's selfish, and it is telling the people in your life that your TV time is more important than anything in their life, including their wedding. Always told my now ex that he'd be late for his own funeral. Frequently told him that important things started at least 30 to 45 minutes earlier. Then, we'd be fashionably late by 5 to 10 minutes, occasionally even a few minutes early, instead of by up to an hour late. He was in the military, you'd think he'd be prompt for everything, especially important things. I literally had to wait for my mom inside the Lynn my opinion on my wedding day because per usual she was late. I was the Fing bride waiting for my mom to get there so I could start walking down the aisle. I still give her crap about it. Fucking narcissistic behavior. My mom was late to my wedding. She's dead now. I'm glad she came. You are the asshole. Besides the fact that it's your mother, people who are chronically late oftentimes perceive time differently. Google.com/amp/sciencealert.com/chronically-late-personality-type-scientists-study/amp. All the people here saying that your mom's lateness is a method of control or a form of apathy are just bullshitting. My mom is habitually late. Has zero concept of time. I quit fighting it and tell her 30 minutes early for everything. If my daughter has an appointment at 2:30, I tell her 2 o'clock. Never late again. My mom lives with us and takes the kids to appointments etc. to help out. Save a seat in the front of the wedding venue if she's on time and switch it to back of venue for if she's late. Is she's late procession starts without her. Too bad. Not the asshole. If she can manage to be on time for work, clients, she can be on time for her own daughter's wedding, she's probably just assuming you're bluffing. You are the asshole. She was saying, maybe in a joking way you found inappropriate in the moment, that she recognized this was a big flaw of hers and she was going to try. Then you basically blew up at her and told your mom not to come to your wedding, a move typically reserved for abusive or neglectful parents. It's your day first and foremost, but also for your parents it represents the end of a long, hard journey for them getting you across the finish line. Yes, she will also be the asshole if she actually is late on the big day. Yes, you can make that clear to her in advance or even suggest that the doors will be locked and she might not get a seat in the front if she gets there late. No, that doesn't justify you going preemptively nuclear on her and uninviting her to your wedding. I had my wedding on a boat. I hate it when people are late. On the dot, the boat left port, leaving about a dozen people that were even a minute late. Not the asshole. Edit. Added. We included the time bold on our save the date, invitation, website, and texted all that RSVP the reminder of a hard time the boat will leave port. If you love her in every other aspect even if flawed, then YTA. You know it's a part of your mom. And you chose to even suggest the idea of her not showing up to her own daughter's wedding just because she would be late. Considering all the other reasons on this subreddit, I see why parents shouldn't show up to their child's wedding. This seems very petty in comparison. Considering how big of a day it would be for you, I'm sure she wouldn't be late, although I might be wrong because I don't know the full extent of her problem with lateness. But come on, she's your mom. No assholes here. I get that it's a pet peeve of yours, but you're being petty. Being habitually late is like a mental illness. It's really fucking hard for some people to get out of the habit. And if she hasn't dealt with it by now, she's not going to. Saying that you won't let her into your wedding is patronizing. Just don't write her into the ceremony and what happens happens. It's your mother. Why wouldn't telling her the thing starts an hour early suffice? Not the asshole. I abhor lateness. It's basically someone telling you that your time is not important. It's so disrespectful, and people who say they're late for everything, ha ha ha. Well, they're just shitty people. Not the asshole. My mum is on average 1 to 2 hours late for things, and it's the absolute worst. It's incredibly disrespectful that your mum would even remotely consider being late to your wedding and expect you to lie about the time it starts so that she could be on time. That being said, have you considered your mum could have untreated ADHD? YTA. You'd really kick your parent out of your wedding? I would kill to have my dad back and have him be at my wedding. I think this is an everyone sucks hair situation. I completely understand your frustration. My mom is the same way, and it sucks. You were still rude about it. If you want that boundary with your mom, feel free to take it, but be respectful as you give it. It also might be helpful to start enforcing it on more minor get-togethers so your mom knows you are serious. People being late constantly is such a huge pet peeve of mine, drives me insane. Not the asshole. My personal thinking is that people who are habitual late don't really want to participate in whatever event they are late for. Don't get me wrong, things happen, traffic jams, whatever, but if it's a constant thing, they don't want to be there anyways.